Welcome to my live. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian C. Steele, the professional nerd, and I will be your nerd today for the next hour or so. I have a confession to make on the reason why we are going live today, and that is because I completely forgot to record yesterday. Utterly, completely forgot to record an episode yesterday, which is why this is now an unplanned live AMA. Ask me anything. Let's just do it. Let's dive in, and we'll see what I can do. It is one of those things where I was not expecting to. I thought I had I thought I had an episode. I woke up this morning ready to rock and roll. I was like, okay, cool. And I looked at my my upload queue, and there was nothing there. There was just the episode from last week sitting there staring at me. And I went, did I forget to save? Did I forget to save my progress yesterday? And then it hit me. Not only did I forget to save progress, I forgot to make progress. I actually didn't record an episode for this week, which makes me feel really kind of derpy. So today we're going to turn this into just a quick 50-minute hangout where I'll like I normally do, I'll fill you in on the weekend, Brian, and then talk about getting things ready for Gen Con. We got Gen Con here in a couple of weeks. Which is going to be super cool. It will be my first. Let's roll it back. Let's get back. Yes, Akneth, I am the busiest bee. I actually yesterday was a busy day, and I just I lost track of time. Apparently, got done with the day. I'm doing a lot of 3D printing for some secret projects. I painted 3 mortificators yesterday. Just doing a lot, but not like I don't feel swamped. When I got done with my day, I turned my computer off. I checked my email one last time. Let's hold off on the whys, the what's, and the where nows until I do the week in Brian. Okay, so on a personal level, since I have been more dedicated to the weight loss, I have lost a total of 13 pounds since that first day that I came back from Origins. So 13 pounds in 2 weeks so far. It's happening faster than I thought it would, slower than I'd like. But I don't feel like I'm starving myself. I don't feel like I'm, in a horrible bad way. I'm not like grumpy all the time or anything like that. So this is the part of the thing. Hey there, Brian. Congratulations. Thank you, Spectrum. It is. It feels good to know that I'm heading in the right direction. Obviously, I'm still very squishy. And Natalie and I are officially starting to go back to the gym, like the actual, like a gym facility, not just, exercise bands and things here at the house. We're starting that back up next Monday, I believe, after the weekend. So that'll be cool. That would be nice. I'll hate it. I hate going to the gym a lot. I do not understand how people. I don't understand how gym rats happen. Like people who are like, yeah, I love heading out to the gym. Now, here's the thing. I'm friends with a bunch. I just don't get it. I don't understand wasting time out of my day where I could be creating, where I could be reading, where I could be sleeping or scrolling TikTok, anything else but sitting there and suffering. I just don't get it. But I do know that it will help with the situation. So I will continue. I'll make it happen. I feel like somebody who's live right now with me, let me know. Can you hear me okay? My voice register seems like it's not really picking up all that great. Am I super low? Sure can. Okay, so you can hear me good. Okay, just I've got a good microphone. Okay, sound is good. Thank you, John. Um, yeah, so on a personal level, things are good. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things when it comes to trying to not just do the same meat and cheese bowl every night, to do the low carb thing, but like, doing some stir fries, California rice, cauliflower rice. They make a lot of really good like almost all protein, no carb, like uh tortillas and stuff. We do a lot of that. I eat a lot of eggs. Um but yeah, no, things are good. I'm on a personal level, I'm very happy. On a gaming level, I've been playing a ton of Valheim with my buddy, where you're the undead Viking Minecraft. Uh, Gerald, I'm not doing keto. I'm doing it's like a dirty keto. My doctor does not want me to completely do like no carb, no carb super crash, because he'd be afraid of like a hypoglycemic reaction. Just because I am very heavy and it would be a drastic difference. Um, but as long as I stay below 100 carbs, 100 grams of carbs a day, that I seem to be heading in the right direction. And then he wants me at least once every 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks. He'd prefer 2 until I start feeling better. Is basically have a pre-planned a pre-planned cheat day, where I don't go stupid. I don't go to like the mall and eat 7 Cinnabons or anything like that. But like that would be the day that maybe I go and have like a real go out meal with my friends, or coming up to here at Gen Con here in a couple weeks. I know it's going to be rough for those days, but big fancy fancy Res Nova dinner that we're doing on Saturday nights with one of the Kickstarter backers. We're going to a steak and seafood place. So I know that I can do just like a ton of meat, cheese, and like vegetables and stuff. So yeah, no, it's just, it isn't straight keto, but it is, I believe the term is dirty keto, which always makes me feel, like I'm doing something wrong, and that makes it cooler. All right. Let's see. I like that. I did keto and it was great till I fell off. It is, and I did this same kind of plan. It works for me, mostly because I don't I don't like fruit. I don't like a lot of vegetables. If someone looked at me and was like, "You are now a carnivore. All you get to do is eat the meat from the bone," I would be like, "Man, that's going to be expensive, but damn, that'll be great." So this is not that hard. Um, where I run into the issue is the I have a hell of a sweet tooth. So I go through I'm going to be hyperbolic here. I go through my weight in sugar-free jello. I eat a ton of sugar-free jello because that is amazing. But it's a lot of like pistachios and stuff like that. It's just even that you got to watch, because occasionally like you'll see a really awesome like bag of pistachios, be like, all right, great, and then you realize that those are like honey roasted, and the honey adds like 15 carbs. So it's still something I can do. It just means that I need to pay attention that if it's a day where I'm like, all right, I've had X number of servings of X number of things, and I'm sitting at like 50 carbs, it means that I know that when it comes down to making dinner that night, that maybe I stick to as low carb as possible, do like, ham and cheese omelet, or, make a, even kind of go lax on the cauliflower and stuff. Cause even those have some carbs. And then of course, if I'm going to be cooking something and it's a day where I want to make sure that the carbs are on the lower side when it comes to the meal, I'll go spicy rather than sweet, like as far as sauces and spices. So I don't know. I don't know. We're spending so much time on this. But yeah, so that was that's pretty much me on the personal level. Things are good. Connor's doing great. at we got his midway. Was it midway? No, he's as of today. I think today is his last day of the summer school PE, and he got an A. So yeah, no, so that's fantastic. He's still doing great at tennis. My stepkid Asa is working at a local diner, doing great. I mean, it's just things are solid, things are good. I am a happy Brian on many levels. Painting, I actually just got done painting a few secret minis for Gen Con. Secret minis. And then I painted up 3 mortificators for our Brotherhood faction starter for Warzone. And then I've actually got a handful of BattleTech mechs sitting there. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine who said that he asked if I was doing commission painting for that I was painting someone else's BattleTech stuff. I was like, no, it's my stuff. Go clan Ghost Bear. The Ilkhan would be happy. But I don't paint it religiously. I paint it as a way to kind of break the monotony if I'm painting something else, or if something else is a really high stress paint job. Like I'm very, oh God, like focused on on that particular paint job. Because if I need to take a breath, if I need to walk away from it, I can paint 4 or 5 battle mechs as like assembly line painting, and just to kind of break the monotony up and feel good about something that I'm creating. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for painting wise. I'm 3D printing some stuff for a friend of mine. Last week I was 3D printing a bunch of stuff for Gen Con, but now the next round of things that I'm putting together are for my buddy. He needed some high class board game pieces, so he bought me it's apparently for the board game that he's talking about. It's the little, like, it's got like watchtower pieces, and he thought that it'd be cool that, like, in the game that it comes from, they're tokens normally, but he would love to have more physical implements. Hey Blue Stripe, how you doing? Hope I'm good. I am doing good. I was explaining that today's live is weird because I got so caught up in other things yesterday, I completely forgot to record an episode. So we're doing a live today, and ask me anything in the comments, or just listen to me prattle on for 50 minutes or so. And I'll talk a little bit about Gen Con later. Yeah, so he basically bought me this like amazing, like 4-story 32 millimeter scale watchtower with an attached barracks. It's just this awesome thing. Except he needs them printed this big. So I went into my slicer and I was just sizing everything down and squishing everything down. And it was unexpected, but like, they're going to be really cool little board game pieces when they're all done. So I've started printing those today. In fact, the printer actually stopped running almost 10 minutes before I started recording. And my first thought was, oh, I'll go set it up for the next round of printing. And then I realized you would be hearing that in the background the entire time. So it's waiting. It can wait until we're done here. Yeah, I think that's gaming wise. Like I said, I'm playing a lot of Valheim. I haven't played. We played this weekend with a couple of friends of ours. The Villainous board game, the Disney Villainous. I mean, yeah, technically Marvel too, but like we were playing just the Disney stuff. It had been so long since we'd played that game that I had forgotten what an interesting design concept it is. And I liked it so much that the following day, I had I had a Horus Heresy tournament at our tournament, more like a special event at our local store. And so while I did not do fabulously, I did okay enough that I walked away with some store credit. And while I was there, I was going to buy, I was like, oh, I'm going to surprise my friends. I'll buy one of the Marvel Villainous uh, expansions, so I can have, Marvel characters next time we play. And when I went to look what they had a couple Marvel ones, and that was cool. But they had the newest Villainous expansion that has 2 Pixar characters in it. It's got Syndrome and Lotso from Toy Story. And I was like, well, I can't not grab that. Okay. So I scooped that up. Who's my favorite villain to play in Villainous? So, literally, it's been so long since I played. I think the last time we played was years ago, like 2 years ago, if that. And I think I played Jafar. When we played last week, I played Scar from Lion King. And I really like the mechanics of Lotso. Obviously, I haven't played Lotso yet, but I really like the mechanics of draining heroes of their strength and getting them all to the room with the fiery death. But of course, I'll have to try and play anything related to Toy Story and not weep, because Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 less so than Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 was a punch to the gut. As a dad who has a significant psychological hiccup when it comes to seeing my son grow out of being a child and into the man that he is becoming. Toy Story 3 was ugly cry worthy. Like, I was just gutted. It was beautiful. It's a great movie. Like, it's not like gutted as in, I left there and was like, God, why did I watch that? It was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was like being punched in the stomach. Blue Stripe says, Toy Story 3 didn't hit me, which surprised my friends as I weep at the opening of an envelope. Blue, do you have kids? Gerald says, Toy Story 3 seriously made me cry. Blue, if you've got kids, that's really what hits you. That's where Toy Story 3... it is the actively seeing a child grow out of the childish phase, grow out of the things that they used to love, that you used to love. I'm gonna make myself weep if I don't. It's gonna be this thing. All right, here we go. Let's try not to cry. It is seeing a perfect representation of a child growing up as they should, out of the things that you saw that gave them joy, into new things that give them joy, and new things, and new adult life. And there's that little voice in the back of your head that says, I'll never get that back. Now, I won't lie. I am very fortunate in the fact that I am a 45, almost 46-year-old child, and that I play with toys for a living. And so being able to play video games alongside my son, or getting him to play role-playing games with us, or I'm still trying to get him to play a miniature war game now and again that isn't just, him helping me play test. But I know that I'm fortunate in those instances that we have new and fancy toys to play with. And I know, there are other ways of looking at it, like I know that there's, parents out there that connect with their kids through, sports, and that's the thing that they do. And, or maybe, fixing a car or whatever. But part of the reason why Toy Story hits me so hard, specifically Toy Story 3, is because um, I I was one of those guys that held on to their toys. Like I had a nervous breakdown when I sold my GI Joe collection when I was in college. When my mom called me in my early 20s and was like, "Hey, I found a box of your old Transformers under the stairs. What do you want with them?" I I sat there for an hour as a 25-year-old man, married, you know, no kids at that time, but married and with career and published author and all that. And I sat there um, looking at my old Transformers they were inside of a box, so they were in really good shape. Um, and just basically, fighting back tears of why these forgotten toys, these toys that served a purpose, served my purpose, served the purpose for me, and for whatever is inside that brain that disconnects from if I picked up Megatron and I'm no longer I'm seeing it as, man, this is really cool and I really love this, I love this model, I love the story, and I love all this stuff about it. But it's no longer me picking it up and then going, okay, let me grab the other 50 guys and set up this cool scene and play for the next hour. And that's the thing that hits on that back spark, is that it goes, you don't feel like that anymore. You're not that kid anymore. And seeing, yep, Brian, you're good. You're good. I'm good. Seeing in real time your own child, my own son, go through that and slowly start to realize that he is outgrowing some of those early toys, and seeing the reaction that he is having to, I don't want to give this up because I've loved this my whole life, but it doesn't have the same sparkle that it used to. And knowing that banality is settling in on my own, I'm gonna cry. Settling in on my own kid is where all of that emotion comes from, because it is one of those things. It's a feeling that I can't take away. It's just natural. It's part of growing up. It's part of becoming an adult. It is, yes, Agneth, the childhood toys that brought our first major creative juices flowing. Absolutely. That's, when someone says, where did your imagination come from? And I go, I don't remember not having one. Maybe I was born with it. Maybe it was Maybelline. I don't know. You're 100% correct. It is that it's you immerse yourself in the moment. You immerse yourself in the story. All right, I'm going to change gears real quick. Weekend Brian's done. Everything's great. Work's fabulous. Okay. Actually, work is really good right now. Things are going very well. But neither here nor there. Let's get into the live. Let's keep the live going. Keep the spirit flowing, and get me away from tears. Where was I going with that? Imagination. Benefit of a live. Somebody chime in. Tell me where I was going before I lost my train of thought. Childhood toys that brought our first major creative juices flowing. Yeah. All right. I think I was just talking about where inspiration came from, or is where my imagination came from. And I don't remember not being an imaginative little Gen Con. We'll talk about Gen Con in a minute. Yes. Is from the tiniest of tinies, I've always come up with stories, come up with putting my action figures in scenes, and went outside and beat trees with broomsticks, thinking that I was the Midwest Ninja. I've always had an unbelievably powerful imagination, and there's there's no there's no doubt in my head that if it wasn't for all of that, if it wasn't for that, um, that almost maddening level of make believe in my skull, uh, that I wouldn't be as successful in the game industry, in the creative, in a creative space. Um, it hurts me in many ways, but overall, especially professionally, it has been nothing but a godsend for me. It is one of the things. There is a one of the World of Darkness games, from back in the day, Changeling, The Dreaming. Um, I initially, as an angsty vampire and werewolf fanatic, I always saw Changeling as, a bunch of fairies. Who wants to play Fae when I can be a werewolf of destruction? Um, and it took one of my friends, one of my LARPing friends, basically go, come play this game with me. And I said, are you crazy? Okay, what characters can I play? And we were looking through the characters, and I fell initially on Redcap, and I was like, wait, so an angry goblin looking thing that can just bite through anything? All right. And the storyteller for that particular game needed a bad guy. And I was like, all right, hit me up. Feed me the villain. I would be the villain. And so I ended up creating a redcap named Flay. Yes, as in the verb. And I wore, I was dressed like many a vampire character, but I went out and I went to a local haberdashery in their clearance section, and I bought a white top hat. And the white top hat, I was like, this is going to be, because every character that I ever played in any LARP always had some kind of signature piece, whether it was a makeup or a scar or a specific weapon or a jacket or a cane, or there was always something. So that way I had some kind of physical something to get me into to get me into like I could grab, let's say that this tape measure is my prop, is that I could basically get this and kind of center my character around the concept and familiarize my motions, my actions. It was very acting. I did a lot of acting, and go figure. And Flays was his top hat. And my very first time playing the character, I got dressed, and I saw several of the other people at this LARP, at this Changeling LARP, doing their own. They were doing their makeup and stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, I just look like a person." And it's not like a vampire game where everyone kind of just looks like a person. Okay. And so I was like, well, what I'll do for the red cap is I'll red my nose, I'll smear I'll get some I'm supposed to be this like horrible monster. I'll get like super red lips, and so I basically put on a bunch of red grease paint on my my lips and my face, and it was all over my hand. And what I ended up doing the first time was by accident, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's really cool, is I grabbed the brim of the top hat and I got red paint all over this white top hat. And I went, oh, hell. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's my character piece. And so I put basically blood-stained handprints and fingerprints all over the front bill of the hat, because every time I was introduced to someone, or every time that I met someone new, I would put on the smarmy, the villain charm, oh, it's nice to meet you, and I would always take the hat and bow. And so I basically built it into this prop that those blood stains were basically, because my hands are always, covered in the last thing that I killed and ate. So yeah, long story short, Changeling as a game, Flay was great, but Changeling as a game, it initially I didn't understand really what it was. And then I got into the concept and, started talking to some of the other people. And it is basically a chase to keep the magic of your youth, literal magic in this case. And the battle against growing up and forgetting what it's like to being able to play make believe. And so that is where Changeling has always sit for me. It is such a deep a deep and interesting concept that hits so close to home for me in particular, that I really hope. How can I say this? I really hope that should World of Darkness and Renegade ever do Changeling, that they really do it right. That they don't over sanitize it, that they don't try and take away the parts of it that make it unique and magical in an effort to make the masses happy. In my opinion, that's what they've done with Werewolf. I know I'm saying that out loud, and I'm sure I'm probably going to get a bunch of flack for it, but Werewolf was my absolute favorite World of Darkness game, and Werewolf 5 misses the mark for me. I'm sure it's a great game for the people who enjoy it. I love Vampire 5. I think Vampire 5 is amazing. I think Werewolf 5 missed the mark. Looking forward to Mage. So this is an instance where it's the opposite. I hope that Renegade and the World of Darkness staff turn Mage upside down, gut it, change it, redo it completely, because I hated World of Darkness Mage. I thought it was too freeform. I thought it was too easy to make just overpowered, silly characters that you could just, if you had a storyteller who didn't give a damn, you could just make up everything on the fly, and then be like, what? It's possible. I hope that they codify and really bring Mage into more of a World of Darkness feel, because it was not before. And I understand there's going to be people that are like, I love Mage, or whatever. I did not. I thought that Mage was the outlier. I would have rather played Mummies than Mage. So yes, I hope that Mage is awesome. I hope I hope Mage is awesome for the people who liked Mage, and I hope Mage is new and cool for someone like myself who did not care for Mage. I hope that they find a nice middle of the road awesomeness. All right, yeah. So let's talk about Gen Con a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to do a pre-Gen Con episode, probably a couple weeks before. Obviously, because Gen Con's in 3 weeks. Probably do it in 2 weeks. But I did want to go ahead and make sure that everybody knew who watches this that I have this will be my first Gen Con as an executive producer over at Evil Genius Games. And it sounds like a lot of my duties are actually going to be rather than at the booth. I've got a bunch of meetings set up, obviously. But it sounds like I'm going to be primarily over at the JW Marriott at the White Ballroom, the Whitetail Ballroom. Basically, Evil Genius, we are getting our own room, like our own secondary room for all of our gaming purposes. It's also where we're doing our late night movie nights. We have, because it's obviously no secret, we do a lot of licensed properties to attach to Everyday Heroes, and the licensed properties, we went ahead and said, what, it'd be cool if we could show all of these movies to gamers and get them pumped up for their various events and things. So every night from Thursday to Saturday, we have movie night in our hall. Basically, after the last, event ends, we change the seating up a little bit and throw up a movie screen and play the movies that we have the licenses to for our games. So you can get in the thing. Saturday night's going to be weird. Saturday night's going to be the weird thing, because Saturday night is our big Highlander event, where we that is such a fantastic idea. Thank you. I would like to say it was my idea, but it wasn't. It was the boss's idea. Yeah. So basically, we got the okay to be able to show these movies, and so for the people who are like, I played. I played Pacific Rim today. I played one of the Pacific Rim adventures. It was awesome. They can go and watch. I think Saturday night is the back-to-back. We're doing the first movie and then like going immediately into the second one. Bosses have good ideas. My boss has lots of good ideas. Gerald says we got to tell the Wrecking Crew about that. Absolutely. But the let's see, what else? He hired you, also a good idea. I'd like to think so. I hope so. I hope that so far so good. Things have been great. Movie nights with Brian at Gen Con. Can someone just teleport me to Gen Con now? I wish I could be. Gen Con's only an hour away from me, and I wish I could teleport there. Would save on hotels. I honestly just wish I could teleport. Period. It'd be just all around great. Right? No. So I think that I'm going to be doing most of the movie babysitting through the evening because I do. Well, at least you have one Wrecking Crew member present and accounted for today. Oh, Justin, part of the Wrecking Crew. For the people who don't know, the Wrecking Crew is a convention. How would you call yourselves? Basically, convention volunteer, like professional convention volunteers. I know you guys do a lot of stuff for Renegade, and I think you did a lot of stuff for Catalyst back in the day, didn't you? Didn't Wrecking Crew do a bunch of stuff for Shadowrun too? I think. And the crew last year, but didn't get on them this year. Okay. But yeah. So speaking of Renegade, I have been seeing that more physical copies of Across the Stars is showing up in people's grubby middle mitts. I will probably not get my copies until I talk to Scott at Gen Con and be like, I would like my copies, please. And I know it sounds like they're going to have Across the Stars. I assume Field Guide will be there. I know they just put out the big pre-order call out for Decepticon Directive. They informed people about Jump Through Time. I do not know about when the pre-orders for Finsters would be out. And then there's at least one more book that I worked on that hasn't actually been announced yet from Renegade. So we'll see. I'm definitely out of the loop when it comes to conversations and things from the staff over there. So I don't know. It'd be nice to see. I will say that the Decepticon Directive. Okay. The Decepticon Directive is probably my favorite book that I worked on. I shouldn't say that I worked on that. My favorite book that I did cover to cover. Finsters is because I haven't actually seen the final copy of Finsters yet, and I don't know if after I left, if anything got changed, if they went in and altered anything. So I can't say that for sure. I can say Finsters was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun to do. I love making monsters. You all know that. And then I got to do the sorcery and psychopath section. So all that stuff is stuff that I'm super, super jazzed to see, formalized. When I left Renegade, we were in the process of getting all the various monster arts and things. So it was pretty far along when I left. I don't know what's happened since then. But yeah, I do know that Jordan has started soliciting pre-orders for the Decepticon Directive, and getting to see the cover for that book was pretty cool. I was glad to get to see that. Renegade has to have the field guide there. They're giving copies away during the crossover event. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Jordan just got married. I saw that. I actually sent him congratulations. Yeah. So they're giving away copies of the field guide. Very cool. To be completely frank, I really like the field guide. I think it's a cool project. It was a very cool book that we worked on. There are definitely aspects of it. I wish that there was a bigger, bolder warning page in the very beginning of that book that basically says, hey, this book is filled with a bunch of really, really cool optional stuff. Maybe make sure your game master's okay before you start planning to build characters with any of this stuff, especially if you start interlacing things. Because there's a lot of stuff in that book that could be quite imbalancing and sometimes a little confusing. So I wish there was a bigger warning page in the beginning of the book. But apart from that, it's a cool book. And while we are running Fun Renegade Adjacent News, Power Rangers streamed game had its 1-year anniversary. I saw the tweet that Matt put out. I needed that yesterday. Yesterday was a crazy day. Crazy in a good way, but very stressful. Hence why I forgot to record a video. It is definitely nice to still hear from all my Renegade peoples. And I'm still running my Transformers game. In fact, Justin actually just commented about his character, Ghost. He's interested in looking at a copy as soon as we can get him a copy. so there might be stuff in the field guide that Ghost is interested in. Ghost will be interested in some stuff in the Decepticon book too. Keep in mind, when I wrote the Decepticon book, it's a lot like the Cobra Codex in the way that it's built around the concept of building Decepticon characters, but the assets inside, there are so many that have nothing to do with necessarily being a Decepticon. There might be a Decepticon that used this. There might be a Decepticon that this fits with. There might be a modification that's like, well, that seems very Decepticon-ish, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't use it with an Autobot or a neutral party. So I can't wait for that book to be out in the world. It really was an absolute labor of love, and it was the first, apart from The Time Is Now, which was the adventure, which was awesome. It was my first cover to cover, first and last, I guess, cover to cover addition to the Transformers line, which was really the focus that I thought I was going to have going into the Renegade job to begin with. I thought that I was doing Transformers initially. Power Rangers ended up being my bag, which is awesome. I definitely fell in love with the Power Rangers community and genre. About 80-20. There's still about 20% of the Power Rangers stuff that I look at and go, man, I really would not want to try and explain that in role-playing terms. But for the most part, I definitely became a fan and met a lot of amazing people like Blue Stripe and Matt. And hell, everybody. So we were talking about. We're talking about the field guide. So yeah, it'll be cool. I'll want to get my copy of that too. While Renegade is running their special crossover event, which I love the art that they are sharing of Lord Mind Zed, or I don't remember the mix-up character's name. I loved the idea when they originally pitched it. I think that it's fantastic, and I can't get over the art. I think it's so silly and so fun. Lord Mindwave Z, that's it. Lord Mindwaves, that's it. Um, I think it's super silly, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. And there's a little part of me that wishes that I could be there. I know I was originally supposed to be there, and then the evil genius thing happened. But yeah, no, I can't. I can't. It's gonna be. I can't wait to hear how that goes. Also, because at the same time, we're going to be running our big fancy Highlander event. So we have the Highlander role playing game, the Highlander cinematic adventures for Everyday Heroes. And I've mentioned this before on here, but just as a reiteration, we are doing a mass singular event. It's 72 people, I think, individual characters, all immortals, where you play through the first part of the scenario, and eventually, as the scenario collapses down to one table of duels, eventually, in typical Highlander fashion, there can be only one, and the winner of the Saturday night event is actually going to get a replica Clan MacLeod broadsword, like human sized. So very excited to see how that goes, but I can't actually be there for the event. I can't be there for the event because Saturday night was when for my Warzone gig, one of the high end Kickstarter backers, that was the night that they requested to have their private private Warzone staff dinner and drinks, where we get to tell them about the process and tell them about upcoming stuff, the sharing all the cool secrets. Yeah, they will. I will be enjoying awesome food and drinks with a couple of fantastic Warzone fans and my Res Nova peeps on Saturday night. And when that is done, I think I have to head over to babysit Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim 2 Pacific Uprising, or Pacific Rim Uprising. So yeah, I both of the big mega events that I am connected to, I can't actually go to at Gen Con. I will plan better next year. But it's gonna be great. I'm really excited. I love my convention people. I love getting to see people at the convention. And if it's anything like Origins was a lot of fun. But if it's anything like Origins, it will just be nice to get to talk to gamers about cool stuff again. And this is why I do this. But it'll be nice. All right, so it is. We are 48 minutes in. I'd like to spend like the last 10 minutes or so, maybe talking or answering questions. I know there's only we don't have a great viewership right now, so a lot of this is going to be view on demand. But I would any questions about anything, I'd love to answer or get me talking about another topic. You have the best viewers with you now. Oh, listen to that. Blue Stripe Hubris. Favorite board game you've played recently? Oh man. I literally just played one the other day and was like, I love this. I love Kabuto Sumo. I mean, it's not really much of a board game. It's just like a little wooden block pushing game from All Play. I really like that game. It's cute. But like in-depth board game, we played the Dune board game relatively. I mean, it's like the last 6 months, and while it was pretty obtuse and pretty in depth, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it definitely captured the feel. We didn't have the expansions, so I don't know if it was any better beyond that. Um, let's see. If there was one Power Rangers Transformers thing you'd like to have brought into the TTRT, would it be why? Oh, Blue Stripes being clever, because I've said many times some of the things that I wanted to bring in, and that means you might know some of the things that are going to show up in books. Of the things that how do I do this? Of the things that I did not get a chance to already design and add to the existing books. Yeah, there we go. I really wanted to be the person to do for Transformers. I really, especially after seeing the new movie, I would have loved to do the Maximals and the Terracons. I would have really liked to do that. Especially with being inspired by the new movie. I think I created some stuff that would let you make them similarly, especially in the Decepticon book. There's a few new origins and things that will let you make some animal forms. Everybody knows I love an Insecticon. But yeah, I also think that there will be a few things in the Autobot threat sheets that are in the Decepticon directive that will lead to people going, that's how you make a Dinobot. So yeah, I think Transformers is pretty well covered. Power Rangers, I think I would have the one thing that I really wish, like, I had some concept, I had some stuff sketched out. I never got around to being able to do so because of, planning and scheduling, and then leaving the stable of freelancers over there. Probably the Dino keys. I would have loved to figure out how to do the Dino Fury Dino keys as a kind of like a sub battleizer system. Would be pretty cool, I think. Okay, where are we at? Any IP that I'd love to add to Everyday Heroes that's not already part of an NDA? Well, I mean, it's no joke. It's no secret that I still would love, if I can get my hands on Thundercats or Silverhawks or anything like that, that'd be great. But specifically for EDH, I think I would love to be able to get my hands on, like, God, I'm trying to think, because there's a whole bunch of them. I think it's a little harder sci-fi than what EDH normally handles, but we'd have to do some modifications. I'd love to do the Orville. I love that setting. It's a comedic take on a serious sci-fi, and the world building that Seth has done already. You could have probably at least 2 or 3 books just out of the gate with those couple of first seasons. Do you got a tabletop game you want to 3D print token upgrades for, but haven't found the time to upgrade? Not for me. I'm one of those weirdos that I don't sleeve my cards. I don't need, if there's meeples in the box, there's meeples in the box. I generally don't use my 3D printer for that unless someone asks for me to do something for them. I'm normally fine with. I'm one of those guys that very rarely, even it's like a big Kickstarter, if there's like an add-on that's like the fancy tokens, I'll update from like cardboard to plastic. But like if there's another update of like plastic to super fancy, or if they're already plastic and then like the upgrade is metallic fancy, I generally don't care about that. For me, it is the meat of the game that's more important. If I had $1 billion to make a movie, what movie would I make? Holy crap. If I had $1 billion to make a movie, my snarky answer is right now, I would not make one, because the writers and the actors need to be getting paid for all this streaming stuff. I stand with them. My less snarky answer, I understand the nature of the question. I would probably God, I would love, yeah, I would do a live action Thundercats movie, like high concept, not high concept like snooty, but as in like very high quality, very lots of special effects, lots of practical effects too. In my personal opinion, lots of prosthetics would be great. And then end that movie with a cameo of like one of the Silverhawks showing up to New Thundera and be like barrel, 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 and lead it into a Silverhawks movie. Like just make the space verse movie. That'd be great. And then do a throwaway line about how the Tiger Shark's world was destroyed. If I wasn't being clever, you give me too much credit. Oh, so it was accidentally trying to get me to Sudoku my way into giving you ideas. You have a player wanting to have a beast form in your game. I know. My wife wants to be a pony. Gerald, one of my D&D players is all hyped for Beast Wars to come to E20 whenever and however it does. Like I said, I think with the stuff in Decepticon Directive, especially with a little bit of reverse engineering from a few of the Autobots, the threats, you might be able to do a Beast Wars kind of, all right, let's make it work until you can't. Tron. Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be a neat setting. Oh, I love my metal coins. I like metal coins too. I got a whole baggie full of them behind these iron cups. But yeah. Unicorn. Oh, still talking about Natalie's dude. I thought that you were misspelling Unicron. I was like, Unicron's in the game. What are you talking about? Favorite obscure forgotten 80s cartoon series. Jason and the Wheeled Warriors. Or Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. Look it up. I had a bunch of those toys. Or it is tied with the Inhumans. Also something to look up. So the Inhumans were so before all the 40K and Privateer Press and all that were making their giant monsters, there was a toy line called Inhumans that was based off of a cartoon called Inhumans that really pushed the boundaries of PG-13. Like people were like seriously got killed in that movie. They got withered away and turned into skeletons. It was gnarly. But there were 3 giant monsters in like they were like the titans of that world. And there was the Magma one. I think his name was Magma. And he looked kind of like a sort of a bulldog, like Balrog. Like he was just like, like he spat fire and stuff. And then there was Tendril, which looked like it was made out of plants, and it was effectively like basically a super giant version of Swamp Thing / Man Thing. And then there's the third one that was Decompose. He had a skull, like a jackal skull for a face. He had an exposed rib cage that you could like capture people in. And in the cartoon, his claw, if he poked you, you like turned into nothing, and you fell apart. That was the first time the actual Inhumans like character toys were like 5-6 inches tall. They were decent sized, maybe 7. They were big sized. But the 3 big monsters, no joke, like 2.5 feet tall. They were the first giant figures, and I had 2 of them. I had Tendril and Decompose. I never got the Magma one. I never could find him. It just never happened. But God, man, yeah, I would. Jason the Wheeled Warriors was cool, but no, Inhumans all the way is probably my favorite obscure 80s. Were those the ones that had holograms in their chest? No, that would be Visionaries of Light and Magic, or Visionaries, Knights of Light and Magic. But I dug those too. Visionaries was very, very cool. There was a guy on one of the Renegade forums that came up with Essence 20 homebrew rules to play the Visionaries, and he had written down all of. So when they did their like super spells, the released like the hologram creature or whatever, there was always a little poem, like a little like epic poem that they read. It was on the backs of all their action figure cards. And he had like written them all down. So yeah, no, it's Visionary is very cool. What's your must-have TTRPG accessory when you're at the table? Friends. Okay, sorry, snarky. What's your must-have accessory when you're at the table? As of late, a dice rolling tray. Not anything fancy, just like a little leather or felt or snap together mouse pad material. Just something, to roll your dice in, because I've been gifted a few fancy sets of dice from different dice companies. I've got a couple of dice that are worth a significant chunk of change, and I've got a couple that are just like metal and sharp. I don't want to ding up the table. So I think that's probably the thing that I make sure I have with me no matter what. That's apart from the dice and pencils and all that, but like the thing that you don't normally need that I want to bring to every table, it's going to be some kind of dice rolling tray, in my opinion. Friend Shrimp is magic. So I started using Friend Shrimp on the Evil Genius Discord channel in our corporate stuff. And the first time I did it, I forgot that I needed to explain that to people, because the person was like, what's the deal with the seafood? And I was like, oh, that's a Friend Shrimp. And they're like, oh, that's funny. And I was like, no, it's my thing. Friend Shrimps are my thing. The real accessories are the friends we made along the way. True that. And at that, I'm actually going to, it's still written on my wall. Friend Shrimp is magic. When can we find you in a charity stream playing a Psycho Ranger? When the when Finsters come out. All right. You hear it here first, folks, because I got to get going here. I got to grab lunch before my next meeting. You hear it here. Matt, I'm throwing this out to you. That when Finsters comes out, when it is mass produced and everybody can get their copy, and the Psycho Rangers are out in the universe, you set up a charity stream. You name the time, you name the date, and you can have it set up however way you want, and I will gladly join that game for charity. I'll hype the shit out of it on my socials, and I will play a green Psycho Ranger for you. You're here to hear first, folks. And now that I've stated that, I will leave you with my going thoughts. Be safe, get vaccinated, get boosted, whatever. Do all the things. Don't lick doorknobs. Wear a mask if you're a place where someone asks you to, or if you feel that you need to. Whatever. Just leave every place a little happier than when you got there. And as always, play some games. Next week, I'll have a real episode. I hope. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching if it's after the fact. And I'll see you in a week. Bye, guys.